Welcome into the January 26th edition of the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. The Leafs come back to beat the Rangers in overtime. Dave and I will break down that game and give our 3 stars of the night. All that more coming up on the Locked On Leafs podcast.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, your one-stop shop for all things Leafs. I'm your host, Mike DiStefano from TSN 1050 Toronto Radio, also known as Al's brother on TSN's Overdrive and TSN 1050's Leafs Lunch. Joining me is my co-host, Dave Morassutti from Sportsnet, also a writer for the NHLPA. Locked On Leafs, a daily Maple Leaf-centric podcast, so be sure to subscribe for free wherever you get your podcast from. You can also check us out on YouTube for daily Leafs coverage. We got videos coming up each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. Hit the little notification bell as well so that you can be notified when those videos drop for you guys. Today's podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the official sports book of the Locked On Network. Make every moment matter more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. Dave, Leafs come back to beat the Rangers. I wasn't sure it was going to happen. There's been countless times where the Leafs have been in games against these exact New York Rangers where the goalies just stood on his head, whether it was Shesterkin, whether it was Georgiev, didn't really matter who was in goal. The Leafs have had trouble scoring on this Rangers club. They got the game-tying goal late, almost got the game winner late, but then a magical overtime winner from Mitch Marner.
Hey, Mike, who was the guy that got the game time goal?
That would be one Timothy Liljegren.
My guy.
That's your guy. He did, dude. That was just a smart play.
Yeah,
it was a really smart play. And he spoke to the media after the game, and he said, "Yeah, I just wanted to hopefully leak down there and try and get a rebound." And that was part of what they were doing that night, was shooting, in positions where they could maybe create rebounds and get greasy garbage goals, because you're not going to beat Shesterkin cleanly a whole lot, right? So, the fact that he, noticed that was an opportunity for him to leak down and maybe there'd be a chance. He beats his man, Chris Kreider, gets in front of him, and gets some lift on that puck. If he doesn't get lift on the puck, that's a save, right? But he gets the lift there and gets the game-tying goal. It was a really smart play by Liljegren.
it was, and it probably would have been a penalty on the play considering he was being mauled. Now, it was funny because Nylander said that after the game, and I'm like looking, and the referee, who's literally looking right at Liljegren, doesn't have his arm up for a penalty. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I know, a very, very smart play. He's not the biggest guy, so he's got to get leverage in the best way that he can. I liked how he kind of leveraged himself to be in front of the whoever was defending him there on that play. But yeah, I know those are. He's got a pretty. I always say, I think his offensive skills get a little bit underrated because other guys tend to be known more as the offensive defenseman, like Sandin, like Riley, but Liljegren, he has those abilities to do those things offensively when given the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he was drafted as an offensive defenseman, right? When he was back in Sweden, that's kind of what his bread and butter was, known as a good puck-moving defenseman. And then when he came over to North America as an 18-year-old, they really tried to work on his defensive game. And I think that definitely we've seen strides in his game defensively. But I think that offense has always kind of been there. It's just a matter of whether or not he felt confident using those skills, right? Using those in the NHL, because, well, when you're young, when you make mistakes, they're not looked over as easy as when you're feeling good about yourself and when you've already kind of established yourself in the NHL in the way that he has now. And now that I think he's the team's happy with his defensive play. now he feels a little bit more comfortable making a couple more, I don't want to say dicey offensive plays, but he's got a little bit more of a longer leash, some leeway to be a little bit more creative and pinch and do those kinds of things. And it worked out last night. And you know what they say? You know what they say? You always look like a genius when it works, right?
Exactly.
So,
and then you look like an absolute donkey when it doesn't.
Right. Like if he goes down there and he gets taken out and it goes the other way and all of a sudden it's a 3-1 hockey game with a couple minutes to go. Now all of a sudden we're it's a different tune. It's like, Lily, why would you do that? You're trying to score here and you leave your post from the point, blah, blah, blah. Like that's what the conversation would have been. But it worked. So now we're praising him for, a smart play. But and as we should, as we absolutely should. But let's be honest, the best goal of the night was Mitch Marner. Like that overtime winner was Bobby Orr-esque. And did you see the photo that was taken?
Yep.
That's kind of making the rounds. Let's see if we can pull that up and show our good people watching this on YouTube who may not have seen it yet, because it's just a spectacular photo. And I wish I knew who took it. If you know,
I think it was Bleacher Report actually had a photographer at the game.
But who the photographer was? Like, I'd love to give this person credit, like whoever the actual individual who took the photo, because, man, it's a great one. Like, it's one that honestly I feel like I want to print out and chuck on my wall. Yeah, here's the game-winning goal right here. Marner flying through the air, and you even can see the puck. You see a couple of people. I don't know if you can. There's a girl on the left, right above the post. You can see her now up.
Oh, here, this one right here.
I don't know if you can zoom in. Her reaction's the best, the absolute best. Everybody else is kind of, I don't know, they don't know what's going on really. They're just watching the play, but she knew what was happening. This girl here, if anyone knows who that is, I want to get her on the pod because she was awesome.
Yeah, that was not only that. My dude here in the burgundy with his arms, like I think he was looking maybe potentially for a penalty call or something, because Marner got knocked down, because he's flying through the air like that. That's just an incredible. I saw that photo. Oh, actually, wait a minute. There's your girl right here.
There it is. There it is. Yep, there it is. That's her. She's like that's probably what my face was up in the press box watching that. Honestly. And you don't expect that out of Mitch Marner. Like, Marner's not the guy to, drop the shoulder, get an edge, and then cut across the crease and make a nice little play like that. Like, that's not necessarily Marner's game. But he saw an opening, and much like Liljegren, just instincts, right? He had the instincts like, yeah, okay, I think I could take this, and I think this could work. And sure enough, it did. And that was the winner. And there's your boy, Timmy Lils, getting the apple on that play, getting the plus being out there. And, that was game. 8 seconds in. 8 seconds into overtime.
I'm just loving here how in the comments people are just taking screenshots of like reactions. Like,
keep going. Keep going. I want to see so many more people. There was one other lady who had a really good reaction too. I'm curious if anyone got that picture there anywhere.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Credit photographer, then they deserve it. Like, yeah. So I don't know if I know Bleacher Report sends people to the game. But we'll have to find out who that photographer was. I know like the Leafs have their own photographers too. I just don't know if it was their guy. I can look to see. I have a good idea of where I can look to find it.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly would consider making that like a phone background. Like, it was just such a great photo. If you're a Leaf fan, and there's no watermark or anything on that picture, like you literally could just take a quick little screenshot, and all of a sudden you got yourself a nice background on your phone. Just saying. But I would love to know who took that picture. All right, why don't we take a quick break? When we get back, Dave, let's get to our 3 stars of the game and then kind of continue breaking things down, because there was a segment of this game that had me a little bit worried. I'll chat about what that was in a moment, and then we'll get to our 3 stars. But first, let me tell you guys about one of today's show sponsors. And of course, it's our friends at FanDuel, the official sportsbook of the Locked On Network. The NFL playoffs are here. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for the Locked On Network because they're the number one sports book in North America. It's FanDuel, and if you're new to FanDuel, it's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy, and new customers join today to get started with $150 in free bets guaranteed whether you place when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/locked on. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. And you can even combine your bets for a chance at bigger payouts with the same game parlay. All on the app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So football fans, hockey fans, basketball, whatever you're betting on, don't miss out. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose at FanDuel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Network. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. Got Dave Morassutti here with me. Leafs with a 3-2 win against the New York Rangers in overtime. Nice comeback effort. Timmy Liljegren creeps down, scores in a couple minutes ago in the third period. John Tavares rings one off the bar in the dying seconds of the game. It goes to overtime. Only lasts 8 seconds before Magic Mitch Marner makes a move to cut across the crease, goes flying, or should I say Magic Mitch Marner, potentially.
It's not a bad one. Not a bad one.
Not a bad one. We might have to make that the title. Magic Mitch Marner ends it in OT. I like it. I kind of like that.
It makes my job a little easier afterwards.
There you go. Now we got the title.
Funny enough, you asked about the picture, and I actually think I know who took that picture.
My guy.
Kevin Souza.
Kevin Souza.
Yeah,
that's not familiar. Why do I know that name?
He's a photographer. I believe it's for I think it's for either the NHL or for the Leafs. Might be employed by the Leafs. But I found the picture on Getty. So I think what happened was they bought the picture on Getty, and they actually bought the picture because you can't just take a picture from Getty because it has a watermark on it.
Right.
So that picture was purchased. It would have been nice if I had initially saw that it was Kevin that took it.
So shout out Kevin Souza. That was a fantastic photo. Maybe we'll give him the first star, the photographer, for capturing the moment. Honorary first star?
Yeah. I think he definitely an honorary for I would say honorary first star to somebody that wasn't on the ice but got probably the best moment on the ice. And he has some actually great photos of that. If you go to Getty, and a lot of his stuff is there, he actually gets a really nice overhead shot. I can actually pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. I wouldn't mind maybe trying to see if he wants to come on the pod and just kind of get his thoughts and see what his day-to-day looks like on a game day, and how he's able to get some of these shots and whatnot. It's pretty sweet. Oh yeah, look at all that. Oh, look at that top one.
I'm saying this is even better for a photo here too. I would buy this picture right here, this one right here, and make that like an actual like nice
framed photo. Yeah,
and try to get Marner to sign it. Like that's one where you get Marner to sign it. So that's like, would that be the nicest goal of Marner's career?
Oh, I think so. I mean, he's had a couple of really nice goals. There's that one in Vegas that was pretty sweet. But, I mean, when you're flying through the air and you tuck one on Shesterkin in overtime, like I don't see how it could get any better than that. That's pretty sweet. I mean, and for a regular season goal, the magnitude of that one definitely was probably the most important, or one of his most important goals. But also just the optics of it, I think, it was also probably the nicest that he scored that I can think of in a long time, at least.
Well, I sent Kevin a message, so I'm just making sure. I'm going to see if I can get to know the guy and see if he'll be willing. I've already thrown that out there.
There you go. Nice. We'll see if we can get Kevin on the show. We'll see. Before we get to the 3 stars, I do want to talk about that the second period, because the second period to me was a no star. There was one of the uglier periods that the team had played in a while. It was just very sloppy. It seemed like the team was very unfocused. They were having troubles connecting on passes in the offensive zone. Um, defensively, just actually around the entire rink, they lost like every single puck battle that they got into, any loose puck battle. They weren't winning pucks around the boards. And Samsonov seemed a little unfocused too. I don't know. Did you get that sense in watching the second period? That was kind of the buzz around the press box was how sloppy the Leafs looked in the second, and Samsonov in particular looked a little, I don't know, like a little unfocused in that period.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the Leafs kind of just were too lackadays, in my opinion. Like you look at not the Hito goal off the face-off, because that was just like clearly catching them off guard. That's what Nylander said. Caught us like it's a great play, caught us off guard. Well, that's because you guys weren't paying attention to it. Like
Right, they're just unfocused.
Right? But it was also the other goal he scored, where you have, I think it was Bunting and Matthews were out of the zone when the Leafs didn't even have possession of the puck. So then that put Marner, I believe it was Hall and Giordano, were left to defend the rest of the Rangers players. And it led to that goal. Like those are plays that are backbreakers. Like I don't know why you have two forwards flying out of the zone when you don't even have possession of the puck. Those are moments where it's a lack of focus. It reminds me a lot of like what happened against the Canadians, really. Like just very lackadaisy play, and the other team's coming out hard and strong and hard, and they're trying to push to get the tying goal, or in this case, trying to get the tying goal and also to take the lead. So like those things just can't happen. And they're happening. They're becoming a little more common. There's enough evidence to show that the Leafs are having too many of these types of periods. And if I'm Sheldon Keefe, like that's something that he's got to find a way to fix.
Yeah, there's even a too many men call somewhere in that period as well, which is something that you never want to see, but it just goes to show the amount of unfocusedness that was in that. It was funny. I was after, actually it was even before, maybe it was before the goal. I even looked next to one of the guys up in the press box, and I'm like, I think it was actually Terry Koshin, and I'm like, man, Samsonov might need a Red Bull or something. Like he looks like he needs to wake up here. And then right off the face-off, boom, goal. You know what else was really kind of bizarre? Something that I hadn't seen him do all season and happened twice in that period. Didn't bang the stick coming off of the penalty kill or coming off the power play.
Was he was the one that did it? What game was it? Shoot, I'm trying to remember. We had this discussion before, actually, where a guy came out of the penalty box. Nobody realized it, and he went in on a breakaway and he scored on them. Who was it? I'm trying to remember the game now. Maybe I'll remember it next time. But
it was not. Was it when I was on vacation at that time? Might have been.
No, were you on vacation in that? Maybe you were on vacation.
Yeah, I don't remember having that conversation.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the game. It happened. It's happened before. I was really PO'd about it.
Well, it happened again last night, right? And then coming out of the box, who was it? Was it Cheadle who was coming out of the box, or was it no? Who had that? Hold on, I have it in my notes here for who it was who's coming out of the box. Yeah, it was Cheadle actually. So or Hedel. So Hedel was coming out of the box after his penalty, and nobody knew. And he's sitting there at center ice, gets a puck, and it's like, oh, I didn't hear a stick banging, and no one did to notify, the players like, hey, it's ending. Someone's coming out of the box. Make sure someone's watching for this guy. Didn't happen, and then it didn't happen again in the next penalty, the next power play that they had, and I'm like, that's twice now where he hasn't alerted and notified him. It's just, to me, it's just kind of I don't know, it's just unfocused is the word
against the
I keep
Red
coming to.
Wings? It was against the Red Wings when the Red Wings were in Toronto, and it was Wallman that came out of the penalty box. Nobody knew about it, and so I don't know if it was Samson. I don't remember who the goalie was. But again, nobody knew that Wallman was coming out of the penalty box because I didn't hear the stick, and he beat, and he was just in all alone.
Oh, was that the Saturday game where they had the back-to-back with
Yeah,
Detroit
back
and Philly?
back in January.
Yeah, okay. So they had Detroit on the Saturday, then Philly on the Sunday. I don't know if we talked about in the pod. You might have just had that conversation with a buddy or something.
Yeah, I think I put it out on Twitter, and I said like it was
Maybe, yeah. I don't remember having that discussion on the podcast though, because we probably ended up getting into like what happened in Philly and just some other stuff throughout that game. But yeah, so the second period for me was not very clean, but they hunkered down. They got it done in the third, so that's a good thing. The fact that um, New York didn't take control when they had. I mean, they had opportunities to take control. I think they did. New York it's a weird team. Like it seems like they generate a lot of chances in offense, but their finish has not been great this year. I think I was looking like in terms of goals in the last like calendar month, they're like fifth lowest in goals scored per game. So they're not a team that's finding the back of the net a whole lot right now. And luckily for Toronto, it allowed them to fight back into the game because they didn't go down by too much after a pretty tough second period. Anyways, the game was a winner though. So why don't we go through our 3 stars? We'll take one more break actually, come back and get to our 3 stars of the game. I'm Mike DiStefano with Dave Morassutti. You're listening to the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DiStefano. Got Dave Morassutti with me. If it's your first time listening to the podcast, or if you've come and gone, you've listened a few times, you haven't subscribed yet, and you enjoy the content, we ask that you please do subscribe to the show up on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast from. Still, 50% of our viewership come from unsubscribed viewers, unsubscribed people. So we want to bump those numbers up. We still have our goal. Our goal this year was to get to 5,000 subs. We're just about halfway there, but we do need you guys to sub up and if you enjoy the content, that'd be great. Greatly appreciated if you could do that, and let us know down below any other content you want us to be talking about. We got about 10 days, Dave, next week and the week after, where there's not going to be much Leaf games to break down and talk about. So we'll have a lot of time for us to kind of settle in and talk about some other content, I guess. Probably doing mailbag. We'll do some trade deadline stuff. Looking forward to it. So that'll be, for the All-Star break next weekend. And then the Leafs have their bye week the following week after that. All right, Rangers with a 3-2 win, or 3-2 loss, rather, in Toronto to the hands of Mitch Marner. Let's get to our 3 stars as we do after every single win. Let's start with your 3rd star, Dave.
I am going to go with Pontus Holmberg.
Ooh, I like that pick.
What a goal.
Yeah.
What a goal. That's like a goal scorer's goal. And I never liked the term when I first heard it, but then like I started to appreciate it more because like that was a beautiful play. First off, Joey Anderson heads up play to spring him in alone, but like that backhand, you couldn't have scored a prettier goal. And you notice a bit of a difference when he's back in the lineup. His presence is something that I think was missing in that bottom 6 the last little bit.
Yeah, I mean he's been great for this team. He's been really steady and has been able to chip in a little bit of offense. I think it was his 5th goal of the year last night. So a little bit of offense he's been able to generate for this team. It's funny. I cheekily was going to put Joey Anderson in my 3 stars, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to. But I thought that he did actually have a pretty good game. That now that you noted him. Obviously, it was a really heads-up play, along the boards, getting the puck up to Holmberg to go in on a breakaway there. Really, really smart play by him. And I thought that actually so I guess I'll call him an honorable mention. Drew a couple of penalties, and I thought that he actually was one of the players who stood out in the second period as a positive. After we just carved him up for that second, I think he had his head on a swivel for the majority of that period. Yeah, give a quick shout out to Joey Anderson. I think he should be given another game here. Yeah, think he should play against Ottawa. On my third star, I gave to Ilya Samsonov though, and I know the goal off the face off, not one that you ever want to see again. Like that's just kind of a play that very unlucky. I mean, so much has to go wrong for that play to work. Like Samsonov, it wasn't set, and something else I didn't notice too. I was chatting with Joe Bowen up there, and the problem with Samsonov off the draw, and I don't know if they highlighted this or noted this on the broadcast on TV, but like the guy's stick is like a foot, like almost 6 inches, we'll say, off the ice prior to the drop of the puck. And that's exactly where Hedl shot. Like if his stick was on the ice and ready, that puck would have just would have gone off of Samsonov's stick. He would have made his stick safe. But because he wasn't ready, that shot came in so quick and caught him off guard. His stick wasn't dropped to the ice yet, and it went 5-hole, just like that. Easy peasy. That was something that hopefully we never see again. That definitely caught. And I wonder if that was a pre-scout on Philip Hedl, to be honest with you. Like, hey, sometimes Samsonov, he doesn't drop his stick right off of the face-off draw. He hovers a little bit. If you can shoot a puck off a face-off along the ice, you might be able to score that one 5-hole. And it's exactly what happened. David Kampf, a rare mistake by him in the face-off dot, doesn't really do a whole lot there to prevent it either. So, hats off to Hedl on that heads-up smart play. But also, what are you doing there, Sammy and Kampf? But outside of that, I would say he did have a pretty good night. He made some pretty big saves. He did make another massive stop with the glove later on after that in the second period. A couple other big stops throughout the game. Made that one paddle save in the second period, I want to say it was. No, it was in the first period, actually. I thought that was a goal for sure. I think everyone thought it was going to be a goal. That was fantastic. So he made a few real quality stops. I think the expected goals was up or near the 3-goal marker or so. So he ended up with a positive expected goal saved above expected number, which is always great to see. So and he moved to 14-0-1 on home ice. Yep. Like the guys picked up 29 of 30 points on home ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's quite amazing when you actually think about it and you break it down that way. 29 of 30 points Ilya Samsonov has been able to get for the Maple Leafs on home ice, and he outdueled his countryman on the other side, Igor Shesterkin. So want to give a nice little shout out to Sammy. There was a couple of moments there. That second period seemed a little bit unfocused, but outside of that, I thought he had a pretty solid game.
Yeah, and I think Sheldon Keefe obviously made the right choice and going with Samsonov. Like these are games you need to have, right? The Tampa Bay Lightning are now, I believe, 7 points. Yeah, 7 points back. They have 3 games in hand on the Leafs. So you lose one game, Tampa has got a chance to leapfrog you, right? So just you go with the guy that's hot. I think Murray is supposed to get the game in the game against Ottawa. So
he probably, I don't know if it's been announced officially, but I think we're all speculating that it's now been 4 straight starts, 5 games since we've seen Matt Murray play since last Tuesday. So I think he's been working really hard at practice, as we had said probably will happen, to work out some of those kinks that had leaked into his game, and a good time for him to get back into the crease would be against his former team in the Ottawa Senators, whom they play Friday. So that's kind of our expectation.
Yeah. So that would make the most sense. So keep doing you, Sammy. Keep getting those wins at home.
Yeah. Second star of the game, Dave.
I gotta go with my boy, Mr. Timothy Liljegren.
Yeah.
Not only did he get the game time goal, I thought he had a pretty decent night. Again, he was 50-50 in terms of offensive zone, defensive zone responsibilities. So, he's not getting those favorable offensive zone starts. I don't think he was on for a goal against. So that's a plus on that one there too. So
And it's like was it 8 straight? No, what was the number there?
I think it was like I think it was 7 or 8 straight games he hasn't been on the ice for a goal at 5-on-5.
8 straight, I think is the number. Yeah.
Like that's pretty good. And he's just going about his business in a very quiet manner, and that's what you like to see. Doing his business, you don't have to make. I mean, we're gonna make a big deal about it. I'm gonna make a big deal about it, but he's not making a big deal about it, and that's what you like to see.
Yeah, and he got quite a bit of ice time in that game too. 21 minutes, 55 seconds of ice time. So, he's a guy who's just going in and he's just playing well, steady Eddie in the offensive and defensive zone. Made a couple of nice plays defensively as well. So, certainly he's my second star as well. So he gets that stamp of approval from both of us, which obviously means that Magic Mitch, I'm assuming, gets your number 1 star, as he does mine. Whenever you make a Bobby Orr-esque play and and someone captures a photo of the game-winning goal and the phrase "put it in the Louvre" gets talked about, you're probably going to come out with a number 1 star here on the Locked On Leafs podcast.
Yep, that's for sure. I mean, just all around beautiful goal. I know people weren't exactly thrilled with the play of Marner, Matthews, and Bunting in this game, but that all kind of gets washed away when you have a move like that in overtime. Like just the play itself, going through he's just like nonchalantly going through the zone. Then he's just like, you know what, I want to score a goal. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like just to be able to do that, and like the Rangers players are just like, yeah, just go ahead, Mitch. You do you, man. We'll just watch and all. And just me like Panarin. I think he got caught flat-footed there and just realized that maybe standing around wasn't the best idea. But Keandre Miller, that was the impressive part. Like, this is a big guy with a long reach. He should have been able to break that play up, but Marner's stick handling was just unreal on that goal.
Yeah, they just gave him a little bit too much time and space, and he realized, like, oh, they're giving this to me. I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
And he did. Cuts across the crease, little depository into the back of the net there on old Igor, one of the best goaltenders in the world. And Maple Leafs pick up another full 2 points off the Rangers. So they get their revenge, right? They were at MSG about a month ago, and it had broken their win or their point streak, where they had points in like 14 straight games. They're trying to get to that to their franchise record, and came to an end against the New York Rangers. So they had a little bit of, maybe that was kept in the back of their minds. So they end up picking up the full 2 points, get the victory, and another win at home for the Maple Leafs. And home ice advantage is going to be important. You look at how well they played on home ice. It's definitely going to be important. All right, Dave, good stuff today. Enjoyed the chat. We'll be back tomorrow. We got another game against the Ottawa Senators. We'll see if we can get Rossi or Pilsy on to help preview the show. Potentially, that could be in the fold. Well, we could see. I'll reach out to one of those guys. Our Locked On Sens buddies from I was going to say from north of us, but I don't think either is actually currently residing in Ottawa. Pills. No, I don't. I think Pilsy might be in Toronto actually now. Either way, we'll see if we can get one of those guys on at least for one segment to kind of help tee up the game. It'll be a lot of fun. Always good to get a Battle of Ontario under our belts. It's been a little while since we've seen that, and we are assuming that Matt Murray will be the guy who'll be between the pipes in that game, and Samsonov can get a well-deserved break after 5 straight appearances here for Toronto. All right, that'll do it for us here today on the podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcasts and platforms and receive daily Leafs content. That includes YouTube, where we do upload all of our shows every single day. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti. Follow the show at Locked On Leafs. We'll be back for another episode tomorrow for you folks. But until then, Keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.